I grew up hearing about Larry from my dad and others in the community. We learned about football, we watched football with Dad, and learned to love it. And I watched every game Larry played growing up. I was in high school, when he was really at the height of his career in '67. My parents were instrumental in honoring Larry with the Larry Wilson Day and dedicating the football field to him. And his name was on the field for 20 plus years, and moved one time from the city park where the old high school field was to the new high school field, which is over by Harwood Elementary. And then when the new high school was built out on the highway, his name was left behind. His mother passed away when he was 10 years old. And Whitey was working, his dad worked up at the power company. And my aunt worked up there as well. And she said, I clearly remember Larry coming up to the power company to see his dad with John on his shoulders. And she said he would bring him in and set him down and zip up his coat and wipe his nose and comb his hair so that he would look presentable when they went back to see his dad. And she said he'd come in and bring that little boy. And she said, I just remember him being so almost fatherly with John. He was enough younger. I think Larry was probably 11 or 12 at that time, and John might have been 3 or 4. And Larry took good care of his little brother. His dad was working, so it was Larry and John at home. His pro stats say he was 6 foot tall and 190, but I always said, well, I think they stretched the 6 foot, and the 190 probably in full pads with rocks in his socks, because he didn't weigh 190 pounds. But he was strong, and he was wiry, and he was fast. And Larry was the first NFL player ever to blitz from the safety position. And if you watch some of his game film, some of those Hall of Fame quarterbacks said, man, I hated to see him coming, because I knew when he got there he was going to hit me, and he was going to hit me hard. Because he played with so much grit and determination, and his perseverance. Nobody said no to Larry Wilson, and nobody handed Larry Wilson anything. Yes, and the obstacles that he faced as a young man. He came from very humble beginnings and without a mom. And I think a lot of the youth today think, well, my parents are divorced, or I lost my mom, or I lost my dad, so I really don't have the advantage that some of the other kids have. And that should not stop them. They can take inspiration from Larry Wilson, and that's the impetus behind us pushing to get him in front of the youth of the community and some of the adults in the community that don't know who Larry is. He is a presence that every resident of Idaho should be proud to say, he's from my home state, and especially the residents of Rigby. And the things that he accomplished in spite of his small stature, he probably should never have been playing in the NFL at his size. To me, his legacy is that don't let anything stop you. You have to work hard to achieve what you want to achieve. But if you set your mind to it and you're willing to put the work in, you can achieve your goal. He said that in so many words, so many times. And he had obstacle after obstacle in his way. And he didn't let any of that stop him. He achieved what he achieved through sheer guts and determination and courage, and through it all remained the modest, humble, kind man that he was. He came back to Rigby every summer and donated his time to charity events, charity auctions, and all kinds of functions that fundraised for charities. And he helped set up the baseball program in Rigby. One year, and I didn't know this until just a few months ago, he outfitted the entire football team with uniforms and equipment. And I think that was in 1967. He went over to the high school and saw that they were in kind of ragged shape, so he donated those items to the high school. We are really excited about it. And what I hope people take away from that is to come to know him and the type of man he was. We're also funding a scholarship and collecting donations towards the scholarship that will be a leadership scholarship in Larry's name, but based on characteristics, on some of the same attributes that Larry displayed. Being a leader, but being kind and respectful of your peers, being humble. You know, when Larry quit playing, the community of St. Louis got $80,000 together from donations to build a bronze statue of Larry outside Busch Stadium next to Stan Musial, who was a great baseball player. And Larry said, no, please don't do that. But would you take those funds, that $80,000, and give that to the Children's Hospital in St. Louis? Because Larry's son Jed had benefited from the doctors in that hospital, in the Children's Hospital there.
Very humble guy.
That tells you what kind of a person he is.